So I've been quote unquote a creative making various forms of art for the past 10 years of my life at this point. I have made animations, graphic design, gaming videos, and now tech videos here on YouTube. All that, and it was only about 2 years ago that I started to use genuine software, like actually paying for my softwares to actually do the work that I do. Now in this video, I want to talk about why I stopped using pirated softwares and possibly get your response on your thoughts and opinions on this topic as a whole. Prior to me leaving the pirated part, I was kind of like the king of pirated software at some point in my life. When friends and family would need some sort of software installed into their computer, I was their guy, and best believe I had the setup file that I saved from some sketchy websites, multiple sketchy websites, installed somewhere or just saved somewhere in my computer in one of my hard drives or something like that. And fun fact, one of the first viral videos of mine here on YouTube was a video on how to get pirated softwares. It wasn't long until that video got taken down by YouTube themselves, so yeah. Rest in peace to my first 5k views. So I have a couple of reasons why I stopped using pirated softwares, and I think I can boil those down into like two main reasons, and that's what I'll be sharing with you in the course of this video. If you end up getting any form of value from this video, be it entertainment or just educational, let me know by leaving a like on this video and subscribe. It's free, so why not? So first reason why I stopped using pirated softwares was ultimately because for the first time in my life, I actually do get paid to do creative work. And for that reason, I can actually afford this software. Prior to that, I was pretty just making designs and videos for fun, not necessarily for any form of monetary exchange. I just basically did it because I enjoyed doing it. And I do believe the main reason why some people still use pirated softwares is because they can't afford it at the moment. Now, I won't sit here and say I can afford any software I want, but I can say for sure that the ones I use, I actually do pay for them. So for example, the Adobe Creative Cloud Pro bundle currently goes for around 117,000 Naira a month here in my currency. That's about $80 a month. And to be honest, I don't think I make that much to be able to afford that comfortably every single month. So what I ended up doing was to just go for the software I use the most, which is Adobe Premiere Pro. And if you get that individually from Adobe, that's about 39,000 Naira every month. So that's pretty much how I'm able to afford the software that I use rather than getting the entire bundle, which I can't afford. Now doing that means I have no access to any other Adobe apps except for Media Encoder, which basically comes with Adobe Premiere Pro. But if I think of it, would I actually love to have After Effects, Photoshop, Illustrator, and every other software in the bundle that could like help my work in one way or the other? Of course I would. But the only way I can get those apps individually is if I pay for the entire Creative Cloud Pro bundle, or if I pay for them individually, which I think if I was to add Premiere Pro, After Effects, Photoshop, and Illustrator, those 4 apps, it would cost way more than the entire Adobe Creative Cloud bundle. Now, being in a third world country, our economy, especially in Nigeria, is kind of trash. It's so trash that subscription services have kind of adjusted their prices to like match our economy in one way or the other. For example, Spotify, YouTube Premium, Netflix, and dare I say it, even Clash of Clans purchases have kind of adjusted their prices a little bit. So what you see on a Nigerian store, if you do like direct comparison to dollars, you are seeing that we are actually paying way less than what other people in like first world countries are paying for. So if you're a creative in Nigeria and you say you make around 150,000 Naira every month, which is not bad for a Nigerian living in Nigeria, you still can't afford the Adobe Creative Cloud bundle. And the only way I see you actually doing that is if you like maybe make money in USD. And even if you do that, you kind of have to make well enough to actually cover this subscription. So basically all I can afford at the moment is Adobe Premiere Pro, but I still need to make designs and even thumbnails for my YouTube videos. And that's where I look into alternatives. So for audio recording, instead of going for Adobe Audition, I basically just use Audacity, which is free. And for designs and my thumbnails, I basically just use Affinity, which just got released. It's free. At some point it wasn't, and I did pay for it when it wasn't, but now it's free, so it's all good. And any form of motion graphics and any special effects that I need in my videos, I basically just do them in Premiere Pro on its own if I can, or if I can't, I end up just getting them for free online, or if I need something very specific, I just go to places like Motion VFX and Envato Elements and just get them from there instead. They are paid, some are free, but you get the point. So rather than using pirated softwares and putting yourself in a very risky situation, I would always suggest you go for alternatives. And to be honest, the only reasons I still use Adobe Premiere Pro, knowing fully well that DaVinci Resolve is free, is because I've been using Adobe Premiere Pro for maybe the past 7 years or even longer, and basically have gotten used to the entire workflow, and I have my process as well. And having to learn a new piece of software from scratch at this point in my life is going to be almost impossible. It's possible, but it's going to be almost impossible. I work for an agency. I do like freelance video editing, and a bunch of us, or if not all of us in the agency, use Premiere Pro. So sharing project files between ourselves is like seamless with Adobe Premiere Pro. I think it's going to be the same for DaVinci, but because every other person already uses Adobe Premiere Pro, we just stick to Premiere Pro. And honestly, if I could go to DaVinci Resolve, I absolutely would, and maybe get that, or I just go for Final Cut Pro 11, which is a one-time payment of I think $299 or $399. Kind of steep, but the fact that it's a one-time payment is actually going to be cheaper over the long run than paying every month for Adobe Premiere Pro. That's just my thing.
Editing Danny here. So I was in the course of making this video, taking screenshots, and I just realized that I might have made a mistake somewhere. Let me explain. This is a plan I have been talking about. This is a plan I'm currently on. Like I said, I got it on discount. That's why it's not the same price as this. I just realized something on this plans page, that if I scroll down just a little bit, this is the one I have been comparing. This entire video was being compared to this price. But just while making this video, I just realized that if I scroll down just a little bit more, there is literally a Creative Cloud standard plan. So I absolutely have no idea why this, just After Effects, will cost $39,000. All Creative Cloud standard plan that has all the apps, mind you, all the apps, just cost $46,000. And this possibly just makes the whole argument a little bit more valid in a way of saying that, yes, it's not that expensive. It's not as expensive as I thought. Like I said, I've been comparing it to this, saying that I, for one, cannot pay this every single month. But this is a Creative Cloud Pro. I never knew that I could just scroll down. I don't even know why they put it all the way down here, but just down here, Creative Cloud Standard. And then I think to the bottom is where you find the most expensive one. I absolutely have no idea why I would go for that. This is almost the same price I've been paying for just Adobe Premiere for the longest time. Not knowing that I could have the full software, the full bundle, makes absolutely no sense why this is down here. But yeah, back to the video.
And speaking of risky situations, the second reason why I don't use pirated softwares is because I recently moved to the Apple ecosystem, and I pretty much use a MacBook for all of my creative work. And I don't know if you've ever installed a pirated software or Windows before, but it pretty much tells you to turn off a few things, including Microsoft Defender, before you can carry on with the installation, because for some reason, the things that are supposed to protect you are going to be harmful for the installation. Now, I'll be honest, a lot of those things didn't really matter to me at the time when I used a Windows computer. But ever since I switched to a MacBook, I've kind of been like more security conscious, knowing fully well that my personal details, my card details, and pretty much a lot of sensitive information are on my MacBook. A breach on my MacBook that is connected to my Apple account would literally cost me a lot. So I'm more very skeptical on the kind of softwares that I put on my computer. Now on Windows, it wasn't really the same thing. I never saved any of my information on my computer, none of my card details, no sensitive information was ever on my Windows computer. But on Mac, it's a totally different case. Now I get that this reason in particular might not make sense to a lot of people, but I think until you experience viruses, or will I say ransomware, then you understand what I'm talking about. Now, if you don't know what ransomware is, it's pretty much a virus that encrypts all your information, all your files and everything on your computer with a password. A password you have no clue what's about, you have no idea what it is, but then you have to contact the hacker. They basically leave their information on your computer somehow and request them to give you the password, but then they will always ask you to pay, like in my case, $1,000 for that password. That's if they even give you the password. How did I get this ransomware all of a sudden? It's from basically trying to install pirated softwares. So you get where this whole thing comes from. If you have serious information on your computer and you ever get ransomware, best believe you're going to have to pay that amount to get that password. Now, like I said, I pretty much just compiled my reasons into like 2 major reasons, but a few others could be having access to features that won't necessarily work on pirated softwares, but would work on the genuine softwares, and actually having access to early features with like beta versions and stuff. Another reason would be the ease of actually installing these softwares. If you have ever installed a pirated softwares and also tried to get an updated version, you know how stressful that would possibly be. I know I've experienced that in my life, but if you have genuine software, updating and even installing them are like pretty seamless. And my personal favorite reason would be having peace of mind, knowing that I have the real thing rather than some sketchy version cooked up by some sketchy developer somewhere in the world. So I have been on both sides of the coin, having pirated softwares at some point in my life and all its issues and not paying a single dime for it, and having genuine softwares where I do actually pay, or if it's free, and then just having peace of mind knowing that I'm basically secured, my security consciousness is in check, and every other thing is in place. And to be honest, I'll always recommend having genuine softwares. And honestly, for selfish reasons, I feel like having genuine software actually widens my opportunities or my chances of actually getting to work with these companies sometime in the future, and possibly even give you guys discount codes and promos and all that jazz. But I would love to know your thoughts and opinions on this topic down in the comments. Do you use pirated softwares? Did you use pirated softwares? If you do now pay for your softwares, what's your experience like? Let me know everything down in the comments. I do try my possible best to engage with you guys down there, so feel free to drop a comment. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.